For a long time, I thought disappointment came from expecting too much from people. Now, I think it comes from expecting people to value what they never had to work for. I've watched people receive kindness as though it were ordinary, time as though it were unlimited, and loyalty as though it replenished itself overnight. It's a strange thing to discover that what costs deeply can feel effortless to someone else. Not because they're cruel, sometimes because they simply never stopped to consider what it required of you. For a while, I wanted people to understand that. I wanted them to recognize the weight of what had been quietly carried, to see the years, the patience, the waiting, the choosing, the parts of me that were given away so freely they almost disappeared. Now, I'm not so sure they have to, because understanding was never the thing protecting my peace. Truth was. The garden has been teaching me something. The tomato never demands gratitude from the hand that picks it. The mango tree doesn't stop producing because someone forgot to admire its fruit. The rain doesn't ask for permission before it falls. Everything here simply remains faithful to what it was created to do. Not because it's being used, because giving is woven into its nature. For a long time, I admired that. I just didn't realize I had misunderstood it. I believed generosity meant endless access, that if I had more to give, I should. That saying yes was somehow holier than saying enough. The garden disagrees. No tree gives fruit in every season. No flower blooms every day of the year. Even in the richest soil must be replenished. I've been feeding this garden a lot lately. Not because it's failing, because it's been working hard. Summer asks a lot of it. The rain washes away nutrients no one sees. In the heat, it must endure things spring never required. From a distance, everything still looks green. But I know better, because I know what it has cost. And I wonder how many people are like that, looking perfectly fine while quietly running on empty, still producing, still showing up, still giving, hoping no one notices how much has already been poured out. I've noticed something else. People often celebrate the harvest. Very few notice the seasons spent feeding the roots. We admire the fruit, the flowers, the success, the finished thing, but almost no one applauds the unseen work that made it possible. Maybe that's why so many people grow tired, not because they're incapable, because they begin believing unseen work doesn't matter. The garden has never believed that. Everything important begins where no one is looking. I used to think becoming wiser meant becoming harder, holding back, trusting less, giving less, closing the gate. But that's not what happened. The older I became, the softer my heart has become. It's my discernment that's changed. There's a difference. I don't love less. I simply no longer confuse love with unlimited access. Those are not the same thing. I've realized something that has brought me more peace than I expected. Not everyone who reaches for you is meant to walk beside you. Not every expectation deserves your agreement. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every invitation deserves your presence. And strangely, accepting that has made me kinder, not colder, kinder. Because I'm no longer giving from exhaustion. I'm giving from abundance. There's a difference. The gardener doesn't water weeds because they're thirsty. She waters what she's trying to grow. That sentence stayed with me longer than I expected. Not because it made me think differently about the garden, because it made me think differently about my own life. Where my attention has been going, what have I been feeding? What keeps receiving my time? Simply because it's loud enough to ask for it. And what has quietly been waiting without demanding anything, hoping I would finally notice. Sometimes the life we're praying for has already been growing nearby. It just hasn't been receiving enough of us. I've spent enough years wondering if I was too much, too giving, too quiet, too thoughtful, too hopeful, too forgiving. I've also spent enough years wondering if I wasn't enough. It's exhausting living between those two questions. Lately, I've stopped asking both. Neither one has ever helped me become a better steward of my life. Peace arrived quietly, not because everyone suddenly understood me, and not because every relationship healed, not because every disappointment disappeared. Peace arrived when I stopped asking other people to confirm what I already knew was true. That may be one of the hardest lessons I've ever learned, because it's tempting to measure the value of our lives by the response they receive, the applause, the gratitude, the invitation, the acknowledgement. But gardens don't grow that way. They don't stop reaching towards the sun because no one is watching. I've decided something. I'll continue planting. I'll continue feeding the soil. I'll continue noticing the birds and the flowers and ordinary mornings. I'll continue creating. I'll continue giving. Not because I'm hoping to be understood. not because I'm trying to earn a place, not because I'm afraid of disappointing people. I'll continue because these things remain true, whether they're noticed or not. And I want my life to be measured more by its faithfulness than its recognition. Staying the course isn't about refusing to change. It's about refusing to abandon what is true simply because someone else failed to recognize its value. The world will always have opinions. People will come, people will go. Some will remember, some won't. None of that can become the compass, because a compass that depends on other people will never stop spinning. So I'll keep walking this path. I'll keep tending this little piece of earth. I'll keep becoming the woman I've quietly been becoming all along. Not louder, not harder, not smaller, simply truer. And if one day someone happens to understand that, I'll be grateful. But if they don't, I'll still know which direction home is. And that's enough.